So if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that last year I overseeded my existing Bermuda lawn, which is a Tipway 419 lawn, with Arden 15. Now, this is different to what most people think about when it comes to the topic of overseeding Bermuda. For most people, when they hear the word overseeding and Bermuda in the same sentence, the thing that comes to mind is overseeding your existing Bermuda with a rye of some sort, like a perennial rye in the fall time to be able to keep the lawn green over fall and winter months as temperatures drop. That's not what I did. What I did is I overseeded my existing Bermuda, again, which is a Tipway 419 lawn, with Arden 15. Arden 15 is an improved cultivar. It's Bermuda. It's a warm season grass, but it's an improved version of Bermuda that has better cold tolerance, better color, it requires less water. I mean, there's a whole lot of reasons to go to that grass type, and just frankly, it looks gorgeous. So because of that, I've gotten a lot of questions from you guys around, I want to oversee my lawn. What should I go about? How should I go about doing it? What's some things I should consider? When should I overseed my lawn? Like these are all the questions I've been getting here lately. So I figured I'd take a few moments this morning and sit down and talk to you guys about that and kind of give you some tips some things you might want to consider if you decide to go down this road, and just to let you know what you're really getting yourself into. So for most people, a lot of the comments that I get around overseeding Bermuda with Bermuda, again, warm season grass where we're replacing with another warm season grass, is around trying to correct areas of their lawn that are thin, right? So you'll have an area of your lawn where there's a lot of shade, or the existing Bermuda's just not growing in very well. And they ask you these questions around using grass seed as a way to correct that. And I would really discourage you from trying to do that, because the thing with Bermuda is, as long as it's got decent soil and enough direct sunlight, it's gonna grow really well. Like, as far as a grass that's super easy to grow, Bermuda is probably one of the easiest ones. So if there's a problem with your existing grass not growing well, we're gonna wanna figure out what that is prior to doing any kind of overseeding project, because frankly, Bermuda grass seed is really expensive. Like Arden 15, this 25-pound bag I've got here is close to $400 for again, 25 pounds of it. So it's not inexpensive. So you want to make sure that when we do put it down, we're getting our money's worth, we're getting the best possible result out of it. So if that's not you, right, your existing lawn is growing pretty well, you just say, you know what, I want to try something new. I want like try an improved cultivar, and I don't want to burn down my entire lawn. So the correct way to do this is actually to glyphosate your entire lawn, like kill the existing grass and then plant new grass. But if you decide you don't want to do that, then here are some things you also want to consider. So the first is like the amount of water that is going to take to seed Bermuda. So the thing that most Bermuda projects fail from is the fact that most people, they put the seed down and then they throw it down and just kind of pray. So Bermuda takes a lot of water through germination, first to get it to germinate, and then through the germination period to get it to grow in. So what this usually means is for the first 2 to 3 weeks, you are looking at watering 2 to 3 times a day. So morning, like right now, I'd be running irrigation if I had it overseeded. Definitely noontime for a little bit, and then in the evening. So you're not gonna be running a full cycle, but you're still gonna be running irrigation 3 times a day. So what that translates to is a pretty hefty water bill for the month that you decide to do this. So for a lawn my size, figure, it can be anywhere from, I should say, for a lawn my size, it's gonna be closer to the $1,000 range. But I mean, for most people, budget anywhere between $400 to $1,000, depending on the size of your lawn and depending on how much spring rain we get. So that's an important consideration. So in addition to the price of the seed and all the prep work you gotta do, just figure you're also setting yourself for a pretty hefty water bill for the month that you decide to go about this. So if I haven't scared you off yet, keep watching. The next thing you have to think about is, depending on how good a job you do when it comes to putting down the seed, you are gonna see some color differences. So my lawn is, again, it's Tipway 419, and I overseeded with Arden 15, and the two blend pretty well. But if you get certain areas of the lawn where the blend worked out really, really well, and there are other areas where it didn't, you are gonna see some color differences. And it's not really apparent right now. Like, if you take a look at the lawn right now, it actually looks pretty good. It looks pretty even right now, right? You don't really see much differences in color. But whenever the lawn goes into dormancy, like in the fall, that is when you would see it. So whereas right now it's fine, in the fall is when you would notice differences in color. So that's something else to consider, that, depending on how good a job you do, that is going to be another consideration. And if you want to see what that could look like, so just kind of to warn you guys and kind of give you a full heads up. Last fall, I filmed an 11-part series showing the dormancy rates between Tifway 419 and Arden 15. So if you want to see like when the lawn falls off, what the color differences are going to be like, take a look at that. Because what you're going to find to kind of give you answers to the test is that Tifway 419 does pretty well into the fall, and then it falls off really steeply. Whereas Arden 15 falls off a lot more gradually. And actually some parts of my lawn, like these areas right in here, I can show you guys real quick, like these areas right here in front of the patio, like this whole section here, like all this section right here of my lawn, never fully went dormant. Throughout the entire growing season. Like even the winter came around, we had some times in Georgia where the temps were in the 20s. I mean, we had a couple days where it was in the 20s and then nights in the 20s. And this section of the lawn right here just never really fully went dormant. So there was still some green. So that's something to consider, and it's gonna be a visual difference as far as color goes. So no, if I haven't scared you off and you're still saying, you know what, I still wanna do this. I still want to overseed my lawn. I wanna try and get what you have, and I'm willing to deal with the pain and everything that goes along with it. Here are some tips that are gonna help you get a better result. So the first tip is that if at all possible, avoid applying pre-emergent in the springtime. So because the way pre-emergent works, it interrupts new seeds' abilities to grow roots, and that works really well for weeds, but it also works unfortunately for grass seed as well too. So if you can avoid applying spring pre-emergent, you're gonna get a better result. Now, can you still get Arden 15 to germinate even if you put pre-emergent down? Yeah, because last year I did it. Last year I applied pre-emergent in the spring, and I said, you know what, I still wanna see what kind of results I could get. I realized I might be wasting a bunch of money by trying this, but I wanted to see how well I could get the grass to grow. And it actually worked really well. I mean, this is the right side of my lawn, this whole section here. If you guys are following me on Instagram, you guys will see a lot of the pictures, like this portion of the lawn is gorgeous. It grew in really quickly, looks really good. Towards the middle and towards the left side over here, those are the areas that were a little bit thinner, not necessarily thin, but just a little bit more splotchy, right? So if you can avoid putting down pre-emergent in the spring, that's gonna help a lot with getting a better germination rate. So that's the first step. If you can, avoid pre-emergent. If you still wanna try it anyway, it can work, but it's not gonna be as good. The second tip is that you're gonna wanna do something to thin the grass out, right? So as far as whenever you're gonna put down the Arden 15, don't like take your existing lawn, cut it short, and then decide just gonna throw a bunch of grass seed out. You need to do something to improve the soil to seed contact. So what I've done is aerating. Aerating has worked really well for me. Last year, I just beat the lawn up really good. I made like several passes, really opened up the canopy, opened up voids to where when I put that grass seed down, there's plenty of soil for it to make contact with. So that's something you're gonna wanna, you can verticut or you can do aerating. And of the two, verticutting is probably the better of the two, but aerating can work well. Because again, the results you're seeing here is from someone that just aerated their lawn really heavily, and then put the seed out. Tip number 3 is soil temperature. So one of the biggest things you have to keep in mind when you're putting down Arden 15 is soil temperatures need to be an average of 65 degrees or higher to get good germination. Arden 15 is a really quick germinating seed, at least for Bermuda anyways. It can germinate as quickly as 2 weeks, usually more around that 3-week range. But you need soil temps to be 65 degrees or higher. So a couple ways you can figure out what that is you can use something like this, a soil temperature thermometer. You can pick these bad boys up on Amazon for 15 bucks, not that expensive. Or you can use one of the various online tools for seeing what the soil temps in your area. Like Syngenta's Greencast online has a tool where you can throw your zip code in and it will show you what the current soil temps are and what the average soil temps are, and even like trend data in past years, what the temps at this time of year have been. So take advantage of that. So you definitely want to ensure that soil temps are where they need to be, all right? So we've done a lot of the groundwork. We have aerated the lawn. We have made sure our soil temps are down. Now comes the easy part, right? Actually applying the seed. When it comes to the amount of seed you're gonna wanna put down, for Arden 15, 2 pounds per thousand tends to work pretty well. There's no reason to go heavier than that, because really once you get much heavier than 2 pounds per thousand square feet, you begin to start working against yourself. So in my case, I've got right around 12,000 square feet. So I've got a 25-pound bag here of Arden 15 that I'm gonna be using, which is more than enough to do my entire lawn. So when you're planting, buy enough seed that you're going to be able to put down 2 pounds per thousand. So for a 5,000 square foot lawn, that's gonna mean 10 pounds of seed. So that's your big everything. And as far as the tool to use to apply it, a broadcast spreader or a drop spreader, either one of those is gonna work pretty well. I've always used a broadcast spreader and have gotten really good results. So just decide on which one you wanna use. You guys all probably have broadcast spreaders, so just use what you got. The next thing is once you've got the seed down, we're gonna wanna put down some kind of a starter fertilizer, like a triple 12, you'll probably see on the screen here now, or a liquid fertilizer if you prefer that route, like the Bloomplex from BioPro. That's a good option. The big thing is we want to get a little bit of phosphorus into the lawn because that helps with rooting. So a triple 12 is a balanced fertilizer. It's got 12% phosphorus in it. The Bloomplex is a liquid fert. It's got 16% phosphorus in it. And again, we're going to apply that after we put the seed down. The final thing, and it's kind of optional, is to do, if you want to at this time, this is a good time to do a very light top dressing. And again, key word here is light. So a blend of sand and soil, or sand and compost, like a 70-30 mix, a very light coat of that is also useful to help, again, improve that soil to seed contact, keeps the birds away, also gives you like a little insulating blanket that whenever you put water on the lawn, that's going to help retain some of that moisture. So there's something else to consider. And then after that is just watering, and just wait. You figure that if you did a good job, if your soil's in pretty good shape, you did a good job thinning things out, you put the seed down properly, in 2 to 3 weeks you should start getting germination, which means that you probably shouldn't mow for 3 weeks or so. That's a good safe number. As far as the question you guys often ask me is like, well, hey, how soon should I start mowing? The right answer is 3 weeks or so. So if you're like me, and that's gonna drive you insane because the existing grass is gonna be growing like a forest, what you can use is plant growth regulator as part of this process. So you can put the seed down, put a little bit of PGR down. It's not going to affect the seed because, again, PGR works on existing growing plants like the grass, and because the seed is not a growing plant yet, it's not gonna really do anything to negatively affect it. So it's something you can do, a little quick hack that you can do to, to keep the current grass at bay, to kind of suppress that top growth while you're waiting for the seed to grow in. And that's it, guys. It's pretty much just wait, cut your grass, enjoy it, and that's the entire process. Now, if you guys are looking for the playlist I was mentioning about showing the video or showing the dormancy rates between Arden 15 and Tifway, so you can see what that's going to look like, I'm going to have links to that in the description. I'm also going to have links to the starter fertilizer, both the granular and the liquid, also in the description. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave me a comment below. I'm really interested in seeing how many of you guys actually go through with this and the results that you get. Again, it's probably not the best idea, but it does look really good once it's done.